The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget is trying to help DOGE make cuts, saying the federal deficit could be slashed by $1.4 trillion over the next decade by reversing some of President Biden's executive actions. The nonprofit's report noting that unlike most reduction measures, reversing costly executive actions would not require congressional action and could be done through the rulemaking process. The CRFB says up to $550 billion can be saved by eliminating Biden's plans to forgive student loan debt, including the Save Income-Driven Repayment Program, which could save up to $275 billion alone. $385 billion could also be saved by targeting Biden's health care executive actions. $180 billion by reversing changes to the SNAP food stamp program, and $150 billion from gutting vehicle carbon emission rules. Joining me now, North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. He is a member of the House Veteran Affairs, Ways and Means and Administration Committees. He's also the co-chair of the GOP Doctors Caucus. So, Congressman, good morning to you. And you are saying that DOGE could help veterans get the high-quality care that they deserve. Tell us more.
Yeah, Cheryl, we've seen this administration, especially in the last 4 years. I've sat on Veterans Affairs, and it's been a scandal-ridden administration as far as it goes with our veterans. We saw $11 million just go out the door with unaccepted or unregistered pay raises and bonuses for executives at the VA. It goes on and on and on. In fact, I sat down in the VA committee one day and just was scribbling some statistics. We spend 5 times per patient more at the VA than the British healthcare system. Not that that's a paragon of excellence to look at, but it just goes to show you how much more we spend but ends up in wasted money, abused money, fraudulent money that goes on in our VA system. 1 out of 10 of my constituents is a veteran. We get calls all the time about our veterans not being served well. I think the VA does do a lot of things good, but I think it is a bureaucratic agency that has grown and grown and grown. I mean, they just asked for a couple billion more because they were able to predict their expenditures well enough. So I think this whole theme that the president is bringing to this about streamlining government is really going to be for everyone's benefit, especially our veterans.
So you're talking about maybe the accounting principles that are happening or not happening at the VA. And then also it sounds to me like you're talking about some of the medical outcomes for our veterans, and maybe they're not getting the care that they need. So let's talk to former Congressman Doug Collins. He's a friend of this program. He's been someone I've known for years. So he's Donald Trump's pick to run the VA. If Doug were here, what would you say to him about where's the first place you should start if he gets confirmed to lead the VA?
Well, Doug is going to be an excellent pick. I've known him briefly because we crossed just when I came in and everything. He is a go-getter. It's going to be a target-rich environment. We want efficiency, and it's a change, Cheryl, in the calculus of thinking about what government does. Is it, well, we need more money to this, we need more money to do this? No, we need to learn to do it more efficiently, like private business does. And so I think it's going to be, a real welcome change by the American people, and get back to really serving what we're supposed to be doing with taxpayers, with our veterans, making sure they have appointments on time, make sure they don't get bounced around endlessly within the system. I really, really think Doug will do an excellent job.
Yeah, and I definitely want to lean on your doctor's hat as well in this interview. So you've got this new Senate report that claims the Biden administration spent more than $2 billion to push DEI practices into scientific research at the National Science Foundation. So the U.S. Senate Committee on Science, Commerce, and Transportation put out a 43-page report titled Division Extremism Ideology, How the Biden-Harris NSF Politicized Science. And one of the things they write is that committee analysis found 3,483 grants, more than 10% of all NSF grants, and totaling over $2 billion, went to questionable projects that promoted DEI. The committee grouped these grants into 5 categories: status, social justice, gender, race, and environmental justice. Congressman, I want to get your take on this, in particular because President-elect Trump has made his now recommendations as who should take over in these agencies.
Cheryl, I am outraged when I hear things like this. Science is supposed to be objective. It's not supposed to be politicized. We saw Fauci do it. We saw Pelosi do it. We saw Biden do it during the pandemic, bring politics into science. I will tell you, a day of reckoning is coming. Those need to be eliminated immediately, first day of his presidency. And I will say, also go to warning to our medical schools, our residency programs that are pushing this nonsense, because they're creating, this is a real pain in my side, because this is a real issue that we're creating our new doctors to be social justice warriors rather than physicians. So, look, the cutting block needs to come. And if these places don't shape up, they're going to be out of business. It is just ridiculous that we are using taxpayer money to fund political ideology and nonsense. We need to get back to merit. We need to get back to excellence. And we need to get back to what America has stood for, not this political nonsense being funded by the American taxpayer.
What is your first priority when you go back to work in the new Congress?
In the new Congress, we're going to get back to looking at our deficit, because it is the great silent killer that we're fighting against in this country. Our GDP now, our debt to GDP ratio is about 125%. We need to try to work it back down to 80. I mean, most of the European countries, Germany, well, not most European countries, but Germany, for example, runs about a 70% debt to GDP ratio. We're paying almost the same amount of interest on our debt that we spend on the defense budget. But if you look back, we talked about the student loan program, how much it's cost, how much the immigration, the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, how much that has cost. We're going to be working on our tax package on Ways and Means and trying to get pro-growth policies that are fiscally responsible for the country moving forward. It's time the adults came back in the room. The children have been playing for 4 years and basing all their decisions upon emotion and what makes it feel good. It's time for the adults to come back in the room and actually fix things.
And maybe take the amount of money we spent on DEI, $2 billion out of the conversation, and at least off the books. Congressman Greg Murphy, thank you so much for being here, sir. Appreciate it.
Cheryl, thank you. Have a great day.
All right, you too.